I thought about saving this story that you're hearing right now involving like Jonathan Majors, a more recent update involving him for upcoming live stream, but I said, you know what, it's a lot of moving parts to this that I feel like it deserves to have its own video rather than me incorporate it into the live stream that I usually do weekly, because it will probably take up a good chunk of the live. So I said, let me just go ahead and turn it into a video, and since I didn't have enough time to do it as its own separate live stream, I said I have to give my people something as it pertains to this. So I've been kind of following this case off and on here and there, but of course, you know, there's a lot of news that always comes out and I never get a chance to do every single thing that is sent to me. But I wanted to talk about three major updates. Ironically, the word major and his last name is Majors, involving this trial. One of the updates, I'm going to talk about how they have a new trial date. They have rescheduled a new trial date for Jonathan Majors pertaining to this situation that is now scheduled for November 29th, which is pretty much like less than a month away. By the time this video goes up, it'll be less than a month away. Another thing I'm going to talk about is how his ex, Grace Jabbari, while she was arrested, the prosecutor hit her with no charges. Like, she's not being charged with anything. She was arrested, but they didn't charge her with anything. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was involving a movie that he was having set to come out in December. But let me go ahead and start with the first piece that's coming from NPR that was posted October 25th, 2023, where it says Jonathan Majors trial for assault and harassment charges rescheduled again. Jonathan Majors appeared in court by video today, where after being rescheduled multiple times, his trial was given a new date, November 29th. He is facing misdemeanor charges of assault and harassment. If convicted, the actor could face up to a year in jail. Only about a year ago, Majors was considered to be one of Hollywood's most promising rising stars. The actor, who recently turned 34, was educated at the Yale School of Drama and spent the past few years winning over audiences in prestigious TV shows and movies. He was the hero of HBO's Lovecraft Country and the antagonist in Creed 3, the blockbuster Rocky film. And Majors was set to break through as a mainstream celebrity after being cast as a major supervillain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He became the subject of numerous adoring profiles, including on NPR, where he was described as the internet's boyfriend. But everything changed on March 25th, when Majors was arrested in New York after allegedly assaulting a woman in what police called a domestic dispute. She accused him of pulling her finger, twisting her arm, hitting her, and pushing her into a vehicle so violently she fell onto the pavement. According to police, the girlfriend was treated at a hospital for minor injuries. She has not been named in court records. Majors pleaded not guilty to charges of misdemeanor assault, aggravated harassment, attempted assault and harassment, another charge of strangulation, which was later dropped. His lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, has maintained her client's innocence and suggested to NPR that in fact the accuser is the guilty party. Soon after the charges were filed, Majors was reportedly dropped by both his management and public relations firm. Since then, the actor's reputation has been damaged by ongoing bad press about his off-screen behavior, both in his private life and on set. In June, Majors appeared at a Manhattan courtroom for a hearing. His lawyer stated she had compelling evidence that would help prove Majors was wrong, but Judge Rachel Pauley issued a sealed decision that resulted in Chaudhry withdrawing court papers challenging the accuser's accusations. Details of that decision remain under wraps. The judge wished the actor best of luck while scheduling his trial. The incident has shredded Majors' prospects in Hollywood. He was removed from a U.S. Army marketing campaign soon after it became public, and Marvel has downplayed Majors' involvement in numerous upcoming projects. His character, Kang the Conqueror, was set up to be the primary villain in what was called MCU's multiverse saga, but Majors can barely be glimpsed in the trailer for the second season of Marvel Studios' television show Loki, and it has pushed back the release date for the next two Avengers movies, The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, in which Majors was to have been prominently featured. It's easy to draw parallels with another emerging star whose career was derailed earlier this summer. Ezra Miller's lead role in The Flash was expected to anoint the actor as the center of a lucrative DC franchise, but analysts have pointed to their legal issues and off-screen controversies to explain in part why the film, released in June, became one of the biggest box office bombs of all time. Now, I really want y'all to hang on to that last part that I was talking about, that the article mentioned when it came to Ezra Miller, because that leads into, well, not to the next thing I'm going to talk about, but the last thing I'm going to talk about. So definitely hang on to that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about within pertains to the Jonathan Majors, I guess you can say, debacle, is his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabbari. Now, we have seen footage of this woman acting erratically that has been released, but they're still treating her like the delicate flower. And also keep in mind, this woman fled the establishment, and she was out of this establishment for, I believe, a couple of months. They were trying to look for her. I said they had a better chance of finding Carmen Sandiego before they found her, but they eventually did find her. But I'm gonna read this article from USA Today that was posted October 26, 2023. The title reads, Jonathan Majors' ex-girlfriend arrested amid domestic violence case against the actor. An ex-girlfriend who accused actor Jonathan Majors of assaulting her in March was arrested in New York City Wednesday night, her attorney Ross Kramer confirmed to USA Today Thursday. Grace Jabbari, who was British, was arrested on 2 misdemeanor charges according to Kramer. We are disappointed that Ms. Jabbari had to face an arrest that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office already determined was unwarranted, Kramer said in a statement. The DA's office carefully reviewed all the facts of the case and concluded that Ms. Jabbari was the victim and not the perpetrator. Before we walked into the police precinct, the DA's office made it clear that they would not be charging Ms. Jabbari with any offense. Her attorney added, it is unfortunate and re-traumatizing when a survivor of intimate partner violence is forced to endure an arrest, but Ms. Jabbari is an extremely strong and resilient person who is determined to move forward. The dancer and movement coach was charged with suspicion of misdemeanor assault and misdemeanor criminal mischief, according to the New York Times and the Hollywood Reporter. She was released soon after on a desk appearance ticket, which is noticed to appear in court at a later date. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has officially declined to prosecute the case against Grace Jabbari because it lacks prosecutorial merit. The matter is now closed and sealed, the District Attorney's Office said in a statement to USA Today Thursday. Jabbari's arrest comes more than 3 months after Majors filed a cross complaint against her in June, leading the NYPD to open an investigation, and 7 months after he was taken into custody following Jabbari's 911 call after an alleged domestic dispute. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has said it would decline to prosecute Ms. Jabbari if she were arrested, according to an October 13 document from the District Attorney's Office responding to Majors' motion to dismiss charges, which was obtained by USA Today Wednesday. According to a document from the District Attorney's Office obtained by USA Today Wednesday, Jabbari allegedly grabbed Majors' phone while they were in a car headed to their Manhattan home after seeing a message that stated in a substance, "Wish I was kissing you right now." From their alleged fight, Jabbari allegedly suffered injuries including a fractured finger, bruising, a laceration behind her ear, and a bump on her head. On March 25th, a judge granted a limited order of protection preventing Majors and the woman from assaulting or harassing each other and released Majors on his own recognizance. Majors is currently facing 5 misdemeanor charges, including 3 for assault and 2 for harassment against Jabbari. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Earlier on Wednesday, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office declined Majors' motion to dismiss these charges against the Creed 3 and Marvel Cinematic Universe star. His trial is set to begin November 29th. Majors has denied the allegations against him. In August, his attorney Priya Chaudhry told USA Today in a statement that he is the real victim in this shameful ordeal. So that's the latest update right there as it pertains to Grace Jabbari. Now, like I said, something is very shady about this woman. Very shady. We've seen surveillance videos floating around where nothing that she says happened actually happened. But like I said, something is just very shady about this woman, and the fact that they didn't prosecute her and they're still going with this trial. Honestly, I believe Jonathan Majors is definitely going to beat this case, but the damage to his reputation is already done. And to further prove that leads me into the last thing I'm going to talk about, and that's this upcoming movie that he was set to have come out that was ironically under the Disney umbrella, much like his character with Kang the Conqueror being in Loki under Marvel, which of course is a big piece of the Disney puzzle, which was called Magazine Dreams, which from what I heard that premiered at Sundance, they said that this was a huge Oscar contender for him as far as a leading actor Oscar nomination possibility, and that's probably gone out the window right now because the movie is temporarily shelved, as in they have removed it from its original release date, which was supposed to come out in December of this year. Keep in mind when I read this and look into this, it plays out just like how it did with Nate Parker in Birth of a Nation back in 2016. It plays out almost exactly the same. The only difference is his was violations, accusations, and Jonathan Majors is assault allegations. But at the same time, you have two black men who are big stars in Hollywood, you know, so to speak. I think Jonathan Majors' star might be a little bit higher than Nate Parker's, but still talented nonetheless. And both of them involved PC women. Are y'all noticing a pattern here? I'm just saying, if you want that humiliation ritual to go through, it's certain pieces that has to go together in order for that to occur. But I'm gonna read this article coming from CNN that was posted Friday, October 27th, that says, and the title reads, Jonathan Majors bodybuilding movie pulled from Disney release schedule ahead of actor's assault trial. Now, let me just hold on to that and head back to what I was saying about Ezra Miller. They released Ezra Miller's movie with all the stuff that was going on with him in the last year, and it's almost like no one batted an eye. Well, I mean, they kind of did, because the numbers showed that the movie was just a financial failure. But from those who I've heard who saw the movie said the movie just was going to be horrible, even if the whole stuff with Ezra Miller didn't occur anyway, because the movie was just that bad. But still, the fact of the matter is they released it. They didn't shelve it. They shelved Batgirl though, but they didn't shelve The Flash. But right now, they have basically, like you can see, it says they pulled his movie from its release date. They're probably going to wait until after the trial, and then they're going to release it at a later date. But yeah, let's get into it. Disney has removed a film project starring actor Jonathan Majors, who was set to stand trial for assault next month, from its release calendar. Magazine Dreams, a movie in which Majors plays an amateur bodybuilder, was originally slated for release on December 8th. In an email shared with CNN on Friday, the studio indicated the film no longer has a release date. Now, here's the thing. I kind of knew this movie was definitely in trouble, because look, it's the end of October. The movie comes out December 8th, and they never released one trailer for it. Not a teaser, nothing. And usually for a movie like that comes out in December, the trailer would have probably already come out yet, because there's some movies that's coming out in December after the 8th that have already released trailers like 2 and 3 months ago as far as teasers go, and some of them just released their second trailer probably within the last month, and they all come out after the 8th. So I kind of knew then it was going to be up in the air of what was happening. And the movie looks very interesting. I would have definitely paid to go see that, just based on the synopsis of what the movie is about, because it sounds very original, and I'm sure people who are in the field of bodybuilding would have probably loved to see this movie play out as well. The movie was directed by Elijah Bynum and also stars Haley Bennett. It was acquired by Searchlight after receiving acclaim at Sundance this year. Oh, look at that. Speaking of Nate Parker, we see another connection here, other than, you know, their careers being in turmoil right now, because Birth of a Nation premiered at Sundance. It too, in a bidding war, was won over by Searchlight, just like this premiered at Sundance and was acquired by Searchlight at Sundance. Like, I don't want to read too deep into this. I don't want to say that the tinfoil do-rag is tingling, but I find that very interesting. That's another parallel right there between both Nate Parker and Jonathan Majors and their movies, and the situations that both of them are in Jonathan Majors' case currently in. Other schedule changes noted in Disney's email included the studio's live-action reimagining of Snow White starring Rachel Zegler, which has been pushed back 1 year from March 2024 to March 2025. Now that situation is just a whole nother can of worms that has nothing to do with Jonathan Majors. I'm just saying. Majors, who appeared in this year's Creed 3 and Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is charged with assault and aggravated harassment related to a March 25th incident involving his former girlfriend, Grace Jabbari. Earlier this week, a New York judge denied a motion to dismiss the assault case against actor Majors, moving the case forward to trial, which is expected to begin on November 29th. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. I truly believe he's going to walk from this, because honestly, I don't really think that they have anything there, even though they're saying that they have something there. I think it's just one big media circus that they're trying to play out to the masses, sort of like what they did with the whole Johnny Depp trial last year. This is basically him having his Johnny Depp moment, in my honest opinion, and they're going to drag this out for God knows how long. Hopefully not too long. It shouldn't last, hopefully no longer than a week, 2 at the max. But the fact of the matter is, even though I truly believe he's going to basically beat this case, his reputation at the end of the day is going to take a major hit. It's going to take a while for him to recover from this going forward. And it's sad because, like I said, his character, Kang the Conqueror, plays a huge role in these upcoming MCU films. It's not like he was just a one-off character, like you just see him in one project and you don't see him again, or he may pop up later down the line. No, his character is an intricate part to the storyline. That's like trying to snatch out Thanos from the previous phases when it really is surrounding around him. The lead up is surrounding around to his character. The only difference is that Kang the Conqueror, his came a little bit faster and is spread out and sprinkled out through all the other films. And he even has a whole movie that's named after him. It's called Kang Dynasty. You can't do the movie without him, but we'll see what happens going forward. It says, through his attorney, Majors has denied the allegations against him. CNN has previously reached out to representatives for Major for comment. His attorney, Priya Chaudhry, said in a statement to CNN in August that Majors had his life, career, and reputation torn apart as a result of the charges. The character known as Kang is also currently set up to be featured in 2 upcoming Avengers sequels for Marvel, which we've already established is Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars in 2026 and 2027. Yeah, this whole situation ended up having them to delay those 2 movies, like back 2 additional years, so that I believe initially one was supposed to come out in 2025 and another one was supposed to come out in 2026. So now they delayed it from 25 to 26, and the one that was in 26 to 27. Behind this and probably some other things that are going on over at Marvel. But that's pretty much the whole situation right there as of right now. As of right now. So we got an update saying that there's going to be a new trial date. We got an update about the ex-girlfriend not being prosecuted even though she's been arrested and charged. And we got an update that his new movie, Magazine Dreams, currently is in limbo. It doesn't have a release date. And like I said, when this trial is over, they're most likely going to release it. When they're actually going to do that, I don't know, because they're going to have to try to find a date to squeeze that in, because remember, the actors and writer strike was going on. The writer strike is over. I think the actors are kind of still on strike. So now they're going to have to try to find a date to put that in, most likely next year should they release it, and they're gonna have to squeeze it in somewhere where there is space, if they can find it, which, you know, honestly, they might have to end up releasing it a year from now or somewhere in this region if they still want it to be a quote-unquote Oscar contender. But I'm gonna be quite honest, that might be out the window because of this. I'm just being honest with you. They tried to do, even with Nate Parker's Birth of a Nation, they still released the movie. They never shelved it. They still released the movie, and it got tarnished so bad because of old allegations, which of a case that he beat from years prior to that. But what is it that Eddie Griffin said? That a black man, or a black person, but specifically a black man, cannot go to Hollywood and leave clean. Well, this is the first smudge on Jonathan Majors, I guess you can say, squeaky clean record, because this guy was pretty much squeaky clean up until this point, and I still believe that he's clean, and this is just a blemish, but it's a blemish nonetheless. You know, a blemish for a black man in Hollywood is basically considered to be a bruise, a big noticeable one at that. So I truly believe that Jonathan Majors is definitely going to beat this. I'm gonna try to follow this as much as I possibly can. Y'all let me know down in the comments, do you think that Jonathan Majors has a chance to beat this case? And if he does, what do you think is going to come of his career? Do you think he's going to be able to bounce back from this? Maybe not completely right at the beginning, but still bounce back nonetheless. After all, Robert Downey Jr. was able to recover after all of the stuff that was going on in his past, you know, with the narcotics and whatnot. But this is Robert Downey Jr. at the same time. Or do you think that this is a stick or fork in him, he's done type of situation? Like Jonathan Majors' career is pretty much going to be done. He might have to be reduced to doing independent films or anything like not that there's anything wrong with independent films, because that's like how a lot of films at Sundance are anyways, pretty much independent, low budgeted films anyway. So for all we know, the movie that he did could have been considered independent or low budgeted. But I'm just curious, let me know what y'all think. Well, it looks like some additional news has just come out as well from an article that I'm gonna read from Variety that was posted today on November 1st, 2023, where allegedly Marvel was planning to basically push the Kang the Conqueror character, reduce his role or his meaning so far as the phases go, almost right around the time when the allegations were coming out, but they really never they were never really public like that. But now it's all coming to the surface. So they initially was going to push him to the back a little bit and bring the Doctor Doom character forward, which kind of would mean that they would have had to rearrange a lot of things, simply because Doctor Doom is more related to the Fantastic Four, which we don't have anything really much now on Fantastic Four except some rumor castings, but nothing completely solid. And anything related to Fantastic Four is something that's probably going to occur a couple years down the line. But I'm gonna read this article coming from Variety. The title reads, "Crisis at Marvel. Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvel reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed." This past September, a group of Marvel creators, including studio chief Kevin Feige, assembled in Palm Springs for the studio's annual retreat. Most years, the vibe would have been confident, even cocky, given how the premier superhero brand owned by Disney since 2009 has remade the entertainment business in its image. But this occasion was angst-ridden. Everyone at Marvel was reeling from a series of disappointments on screen, a legal scandal involving one of its biggest stars, and questions about the viability of the studio's ambitious strategy to extend the brand beyond movies into streaming. The most pressing issue to be discussed at the retreat was what to do about Jonathan Majors, the actor who has been poised to carry the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead is headed to a high-profile trial in New York later this month on domestic violence charges. The actor insists he is the victim, but the damage to his reputation and the chance he could lose the case has forced Marvel to reconsider its plans to center the next phase of its interlocking slate of sequels, spin-offs, and series around Majors' villainous character, Kang the Conqueror. At the gathering in Palm Springs, executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom, but making any shift would carry its own headaches. Majors was already a big presence in the MCU, including as the scene-stealing antagonist in February's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And he has been positioned as the franchise's next big thing in this season of Loki, particularly in the finale, which airs on November 9th and sets up Kang as the titular star of a fourth Avengers film in 2026. Marvel is truly effed with the whole Kang angle, says one top deal maker who has seen the final Loki episode. And they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until very recently because of the WGA strike, but I don't see a path to how they move forward with him. Beyond the bad press for Majors, the brain trust at Marvel is also grappling with the November release of The Marvels, a sequel to 2019's blockbuster Captain Marvel that has been plagued with lengthy reshoots and now appears to likely underwhelm at the box office. This is all an unprecedented turn of fortune for a company that has enjoyed a nearly uninterrupted string of hits ever since it started independently producing its movies in 2000 with 2008's Iron Man. That wildly profitable run culminated in the $2.8 billion success of 2019's Avengers Endgame, a high watermark for the studio that has earned nearly $30 billion over 32 films. Replicating that kind of phenomenon is never easy. However, the source of Marvel's current troubles can be traced back to 2020. That's when the pandemic ushered in a mandate to help boost Disney's stock price with an endless torrent of interconnected Marvel content for the studio's fledgling streaming platform, Disney Plus. According to the plan, there would never be a lapse in superhero fare, with either a film in theaters or a new television series streaming at any given moment. So as y'all heard in what I just read, and that wasn't even the entire article, but that was just the part that really was the focus of the topic of discussion. Everything else started to trail into other different things and other avenues that had nothing in relation to the topic at hand. So as you can see, they had talks of wanting to replace this character and basically further even probably disappoint even more people, because remember, this is the same issues they dealt with when it came to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, you know, with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. People were saying, well, why not just recast him and do it that way, and they didn't do it. It sounds to me like they were getting ready to do the same thing here with this character, where he plays a very pivotal role in these next couple of phases. Hell, they're coming, or at this point it's still up in the air. We're going to come out with a film called The Kang Dynasty. I believe I mentioned it earlier in this video. So I don't know what they plan to do, especially since one of the variants made 2 appearances so far in the Loki series. Of course, by the time this video goes up, I believe episode 7 will have aired the day before, because I do plan on uploading it this upcoming Friday, which is the 3rd. So yeah, it's a lot going on over there at Marvel Studios when it comes to this situation right here. Again, the trial hasn't begun yet. I truly believe that he's going to be found not guilty of this, but I feel like they're just dragging this out because pomp and circumstance. Why not? It makes headlines, it makes airwaves, and I truly believe it's a quote-unquote humiliation ritual, unfortunately.